Oh, yeah, baby.
Right.
Oh, yeah. The climb continues and is about to start up that mountain. Okay. It's going to start up in the mountain here in just a few days.
And just like that, we are back with another episode of Seminoles Sideline 365.
Hey, listen. Let me
Here
start
we go.
off.
Here we go.
Let me start off. I've got an apology to make.
Yeah.
One to our viewers, two to KB.
Yeah.
On our last episode, our last show last week, I'd come, I was running around, had some personal business to attend to, try to get in on the end of the show. I did my best. I gave 110%.
Yeah.
And I came in, had a few technical glitches. KB, he starts throwing stuff around the office. I tried my best. We couldn't get the audio going. I don't know. Fire our technical guy.
Yeah.
He did a terrible job. Did you get rid of him?
Yeah. I got right on.
Okay, so my apologies to the viewers and to KB. Hey, I'm very sorry. Very sorry. I'll try not to have that happen again. Okay, so that's the first thing. KB, how are you?
Doing good. It's been a good weather week. Good weather week here. Just pretty good weekend. Nothing to complain about. So yeah, all good on this side. How about you?
Do you ever watch the series, different series on like Netflix or Prime, that go on for 2 or 3 years? You ever watch any? Listen.
But, yeah, depends what you're talking about.
Let me tell you my top 3.
Here we go.
Top 3.
Here we go.
Number 1, just finished, I think it's the 5th season.
Okay.
5th season, Better Call Saul.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Saul Goodman. Have you seen through the end of the 5th season?
I don't think I've seen through the end of it, buddy, but I think I've seen enough.
I just saw the final 4 of the 5th season. Really good. Saul Goodman, baby, he gets it done any way it takes place. The next one, we're not going to rank these. Breaking Bad. Actually, I heard a guy on the radio the other day said he never heard of Breaking Bad, and the guy said he'd been on the moon.
Well, Better Call Saul is an extension of.
Of course, it is. It was a spinoff. It was a spinoff. But Breaking Bad, you've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I don't know what's better. I think Breaking Bad has to be number 1. And then number 3 I have is Bloodline. Very good. Have you seen Bloodline?
No, I've heard of it. Not on my list, but I've heard of it.
It's really, really good. Yeah. And one of the key lines here is always this younger brother who's getting in trouble. What are we going to do now, John? You said it'd be okay. Well, I hope we're not saying that to Coach Norvell. What are we going to do now, Coach? You said it'd be okay. So, that's where we start. And let me start with one other thing. Lady Knowles begin their defense as ranked number 1 in a tough battle right now, ongoing, about 30 minutes left in the game. And they're playing South Carolina, SEC foe. Tough game, 0-0 is the last score I had.
Yeah.
So really tough game. We'll try to keep you updated on that one. That's what I got. And by the way, we're not sponsored tonight by Michelob Ultra.
We certainly are not. But if you like to sponsor this show, you can always reach out to us on our Twitter, which is, and I always forget it, it's Seminoles SL365. So you can find us at Seminoles SL365 on Twitter.
Baby. Right there.
As always, yes, please follow us there and be sure to thumbs up the show on YouTube, subscribe so you never miss a show. And then always you can follow us on Google Podcasts, Amazon, and basically all the major networks.
Apple Podcasts too.
Yeah.
Apple too.
In case you don't have time to see us live here. So we got the news out of the way there. I got a couple of trending topics I want to get out of the way before, because obviously the main point of this show today is we're going to go through the back half of the schedule, break down the last 4 games of the season, which is our big ones. But before we get into that, we do have some trending news here I do want to pull up and get your thoughts on before we dive into the heavier things here. So the first article I'm going to pull up here and get your thoughts on is the Florida State's little trip north of the border. Florida State, as you may have known, had their little 3-game road trip to this is courtesy of Tallahassee Democrat. They took their 3-game road trip to Canada. I believe college teams can do this road trip every 4 years, where they can go internationally. Some teams go to Spain, some go to Italy, some, for Florida State, they go to Canada. What are your thoughts on this? I have my own thoughts on this. I tweeted some of these thoughts out. But what are your thoughts on Florida State going up to Canada, doing some exhibition games? I see it a couple of different ways, but what are your thoughts on
I'm all for it. I don't have a negative thought in my head about doing it. I didn't know there were these specific rules that you can only do it so often. I didn't know that. I think I'm not even for that. I think if your program can go out, do some of this. First of all, it's great for the kids on your team. Second of all, it starts to prepare them for the season. It gets some excitement for the team. Then you get tired of practicing against your same players and your scout team all the time. In fact, I put that out on a Twitter on football today. I said, hey, Coach Norvell and Florida State in general, athletic department, please be the first in the country in the Power 5 to start scrimmaging another college. Be the first one in a controlled type scrimmage environment. What a great thing that would be. Get your FAMU to come over and just work against someone else. The pros do it. Pros do it. High schools do it before they start their season.
Yeah.
Grade schools do it. Why we're moving towards an NFL type environment, which this is going to be. Why not do that? I don't get why not. But back to basketball, I'm all for it. And I think it's a great recruiting tool. I'd like to see them next year, if they could, go to China. Okay. Now I'm not going to get into politics. Go to Europe. I'm sorry. Let's skip China.
Why would you say China?
Skip China. Go into Europe. They play basketball. I'm not going to say Russia if I said China, but they play basketball in Germany. They play basketball in Italy. They play basketball in Greece. You name it. And of course, we recruit kids from Europe, right? What a great marketing tool. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. So to your point, I think it's a great opportunity. And two, what Leonard Hamilton basically said in wrapping this trip up is that, this is obviously one of the youngest teams he's had in a while in terms of a lot of, you have some returning scorers like Caleb Mills, who was the ACC 6th Man of the Year, or reigning 6th Man of the Year is Matthew Cleveland. But you lost a lot of players. You have a lot of young guys coming in, and you also have transfers coming that you want to intermingle into this lineup. So I think it's a great opportunity where, one, you don't have to travel overseas. You don't have to take a 9, 10, 12 hour trip overseas and get jet lag, stuff like that. So I do like it. They come up somewhat staying close to home so they can not have to lose time and energy doing that. But also too, I think it's a great way to intermingle the transfers, the freshmen, and also the returning starters, and figuring out what is kind of an ideal lineup look like against quality competition. You say, these Canadian schools, but basically they played, for everyone who doesn't know out there, they played, like I said, 3 teams. One of them is they played the University, I believe, of Ottawa. The other one was Carleton, which basically Carleton, if you don't know, they are basically, the Canadian system is a little bit different than the university system, obviously in the US. So they have a different kind of setup for how they play university basketball. But basically they are known as basically the Kentucky of the Canadian university basketball system. Yeah. So they play, you'll see them pop up and play university or D1, high level teams yearly on the basketball spectrum. So you're probably, if you're watching ESPN this year, you'll see them in tournaments playing against other US teams, major, maybe against Kentucky, stuff like that. So they like to schedule out and play because I think they've won 3 of the last 5 national championships up there. So they're a strong team. And that's why it was surprising to see that Florida State almost beat them by 32 points. And then they finished up with McGill. So this was not only a way for them to get some reps in, but it was also, you're playing decent competition. You weren't going to playing some dinky town in Italy or Spain or something like that, but you're playing some quality competition, and you weren't playing, it was a way you weren't playing yourselves either, right? So you could really play with some lineups, and obviously, it's their off season too for these colleges as well, so you're not getting their full squad, but it's a great way to see what you have, and you saw some guys shine in it. You saw the guy from UCF that you just brought in, Darian Green. He averaged, I think, 20 points per game during the 3 scrimmages.
Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah,
outstanding. So we really found a player there,
and that's what you want to see, right? That's why you brought him in, because you wanted to improve your outside scoring, and he averaged 20 points per game. He showed he was hot the entire time. So if he can keep that up and bring you that type of shooting, then you hit the transfer market goal right there. If he can bring that,
so, and I think his performance also pushed Caleb Mills.
Yeah.
Because he was a little inconsistent last year, but I think he helped push him. And Green, I don't know how you keep Green out of the lineup.
No, I think they'll both be explosive players, and I think you saw a little bit of what you got there, and I think it'll be exciting to see. So I think that was a great trip, and it's obviously wrapped up, but I think it'll help them in the long term.
What year is Green?
Green's a junior.
He is, so he's got unless he really has if he has a money year, he'll go. But boy, he that's the guy. That's the type of player that Coach Ham had to bring in. A couple of guys who can score. He's definitely one.
Yeah, exactly. So the next thing I want to bring up on the schedule here and get your thoughts on was a recent commitment, but not to the Seminoles. So this is courtesy of Saturdays Down South, and I think you texted me about this. Was Chris Parsons making his college commitment? So this is going to hurt some people's feelings. What do you think about losing out on him? Do you think he's his Final Four? If you didn't know, after we lost out, there's a big story behind this. Florida State started recruiting other quarterbacks because the story had always sort of been that Florida State wanted to bring in 2 quarterbacks in this cycle. We kind of discussed this last week. It got where the story is, they start pursuing other guys, and then apparently Parsons' dad got upset, but you never know the full story, right? But summary: Parsons' Final Four were Virginia Tech, TCU, SMU, and Mississippi State, and he went ahead and chose Mississippi State. Obviously a great, good program that's rebuilding, but has made strides under a new coach, and then he chose them. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think Florida State is really missing out on Chris, or do you think? Like as you always say, these commitments aren't glue. They can become undone. Do you think Florida State continues to try to pursue him, or do you think it's done, clear? He's going to Mississippi State. Let's just wish him well.
Well, first thought, you just hit it on it, and that is the word commitment should be dropped out of college football language, and that it should be maybes. And I've tweeted about that. Yeah. And by the way, someone asked me on Twitter. I started putting, when I can remember, I put parentheses BRU, that's my tweet, okay, versus yours. Sometimes I forget, so whatever. Here's the deal. Chris Parsons was a maybe. Every guy who commits these days is a maybe. There's too many factors involved. Now, supposedly the story is he doesn't want anybody else to be recruited at that position for him. He wants it solely him. That's ridiculous. I don't know if that's him or his dad. I was going to say old man, but it's ridiculous to think that. And he thinks he's so good that he doesn't need anybody else to compete with. Ridiculous. And when he decommitted, I was done with him. I don't even want to spend a lot of time talking about him because he's gone. He's off the radar. Now some people say, well, we should wish him well because you never know. I'm not like that so much. He doesn't want to come to this program, and I don't need to remind viewers. I've sat through the worst of this program. I sat in the stadium through the worst of this program. 1-10, 0-11, which I've tweeted about. So I don't need guys. I don't need that type of guy in here that you have to drop to your knees and beg. Yeah. He's out. He's gone. That's my thoughts. I don't even see a miss, non-miss. I don't care what the guy does.
Yeah.
Now, some people are not going to like that. We may get some mail on that, but that's my feelings. You ask my feelings.
That's what I wanted. And
I want guys that want to be in this program that are beyond NIL, that are beyond a fancy locker room. I want guys that are grinders. I want guys that are underachievers. I want guys that really want this and really want to be a Florida State Seminole.
Yeah, and I think the thing that disappointed me is that I do think he could be a good quarterback. I liked watching his tape. I thought he could be a good quarterback in the system. And obviously, it didn't work out. I think the interesting part was looking at the Final Four teams there on that table. Mississippi State, TCU, SMU, and Virginia Tech. And I think it kind of maybe validates the point that he wants to have a very clear shot at winning, having the position secured, because he had offers from obviously Florida State, but Iowa, Miami, TCU, or Tennessee, Ole Miss, not Ole Miss, but those other schools that are higher, I would consider higher level programs. But schools like Virginia Tech, those are schools that don't have a clear quarterback in the future. So I think
Jeff Sims did the same thing. We could say Jeff Sims did the same thing. He went to Georgia Tech. I don't know. Why would you go to Georgia Tech over Florida State? Because he thought it's a better chance to play.
Well, and he's playing.
I don't take away from any kid that goes someplace that thinks he can better play.
Yeah.
But don't start committing. Don't start making these commitments, which I still say, and I've tweeted 2 or 3 times, I get no answer from anybody. How many people in a recruiting cycle do we make offers to? It seems like there's endless. No, wait, no.
But you're never going to know. No, you're never going to find the number.
Wait a minute.
I don't know why we are.
There's endless offers. Is there no rule on that? How many offers can you send out?
A business can send out. I can send out 15 job offers to salespeople and only have to really.
But you can send out endless offers, and then whoever commits, then you start filling scholarships. You may only have 30 to give or 20 to give, right, or 10 to give. Yeah. So the first 10 who come in that you really want. But if you make an offer, you got to take that guy if he buzzes your phone. You can't. Yeah.
No, you don't.
Well. Then what does that look like to us? If I offer a kid and, we're throwing out these offers, but a kid comes back, but that's not the right kid I really want.
Then they have that this happens all the time. It's happened before. They have that talk with him and say, you're no longer kind of going to be a part of our class. They kind of release them from that offer and say, we're not going to honor. Absolutely.
It's an ugly business. Let's not call it commitment. I don't like the word commitment.
Okay.
Say it maybe. Maybe's on both sides. Maybe we'll bring in, maybe I'll commit to you.
That's just the terminology people use.
Okay.
But what I'm seeing from the players' side is that if they don't commit, then they don't think they have a spot held. So I can see it why they do commit. Because
then it's a misnomer. It's a misnomer based on what you said. If the kid commits, he feels he has a spot nailed down. That's what you
because that college says he has committable. There's committable offers and there's non-committable.
Is it illegal? Is this a legal thing?
Yes.
You think?
Yes.
It's a legal thing. It's but it's non-binding on either party.
Yes. It's no offer is binding until you get that official letter out. Absolutely, and signed.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But to answer your question, Chris Parsons is gone. Good luck, and I don't think about him. What I'm thinking about, which I put a tweet out this week on, is Tony Two Cars. What is going on in the class? What we got any other quarterbacks we're looking at? I heard there's none committed at this point.
Well, right? I talked about it last week. The different scenarios there. I don't want to rehash that.
No, we're not going to rehash. I'm just kind of wondering: is Tony Two Cars? Is he a good recruiter, or he isn't? Is he creating an issue where we can't bring guys in? And I'm not blaming Coach Two Cars. Or is it guys don't want to come here because they don't think we throw the ball enough? You know what I mean? They don't think we're going to throw it enough. The receivers then don't come in, or we don't have good enough receivers.
Well, I don't think they just want to get anybody either. I don't think they just want to get anybody either. So I think they want to be. I think they want to be very selective about who they bring into this.
I agree.
So I think it's a bit of that as well. So
and there's always the transfer portal as well. So. Okay.
Yeah, and I think
not for this season.
They have a quarterback committed for 2024. Like I said on last show, I think that if they lost out on Brock Glenn, the other guy that was at Purdue, he just decommitted. Now is going to LSU because he got an offer there. So I think they've lost out on their top 3 or 4 targets. And now they're left in
well,
this.
we know some of these guys who, they're going to bounce. Quarterbacks are bouncing around more than anybody because their egos are bigger than anybody.
So that's what I said on last show is that I think they can go into the portal and probably get a guy that's been sitting on the bench who's a high 4-star, mid 4-star who hasn't played yet. Bring him in, and he could be the back. Committing with Jordan's coming back next year. Duffy's going to be there, so bring another guy in, and then you got the 24 kid who can probably wrap another quarterback in that class. I think you'll be okay, but I just don't think they're just going to use a scholarship to use a scholarship unless it's the right kid. So the last couple of things I had for you, which is a big topic and it's related to the upcoming season, was the article on a quarterback stepping away from sports. So this comes from Athlon. LSU, their quarterback battle got a lot slimmer this week when Miles Brennan walked away from football after it being clear or being
he'll walk back in soon.
I'm
not saying he's coming back to LSU, but he will reappear in football. You think he's retiring from football? Absurd.
No.
Absurd.
But yeah, this was big. This was big news this week.
Can he still go into the portal, or the portal's closed?
Portal's closed. No, it's not technically.
Could he sit out a year? But he would, if he walks away, he's going to lose a year of eligibility. He doesn't have a medical red shirt.
Yeah.
The portal window is closed, correct?
I don't.
Yeah, it's got to be closed. You can't just be transferring.
Florida State just landed the guy a week ago, so I don't know the exact date of it. So I haven't looked at the specifics of it.
Hey, if any fans out there know the answer to that, hit us with a comment. Hit us a comment tonight if you're out there listening. I don't know the answer to that, to be honest.
But I think just the logistics around this is that he was the leading veteran on that team. So now LSU is more in a position where Florida State is that they don't have a capable backup. So if you're going in with the Arizona State transfer, who I forgot that Florida State had faced off against what's his face. Why can I never remember his name? The starting quarterback for LSU now.
The transfer from Arizona?
Yeah, I can't remember his. I can't remember. Jaden Daniels.
Daniels.
So they played. I forgot they played against him.
Did they name him as the starter?
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Yeah.
He was. I think all indications are he's going to be the starter.
Yeah. And Miles Brennan has been in the program for a little while.
He was essentially the starter last year. He had the most experience on the roster. So for him to leave, they're very much in a situation where Florida State is, where there is no capable backup experience if the starter goes down anymore. So that's
this article that you've got up there now says instead of entering the transfer portal for a fresh opportunity, apparently he could go in.
Yeah, so it must still be open, which now it would be interesting. I guess the disadvantage thing is fall camp's already basically closing for all schools. So it would be tough for Jalen Gray him, but maybe he goes FCS and it would be tough. I don't know. I don't know really what he does at this point. But so LSU's in a tight spot. They're down to Jaden Daniels, who has experience.
No one else.
And basically no one else with experience on the bench. So they're very much like us right now. So I think what I said was, you got to pin your ears back and go after the quarterback and put some pressure on him, because they have nothing behind him right now. So interesting situation there, but it tells you, like you said, the politics of football now is that if you don't see a starting position, they walk away.
Or you get pissed for any reason, you walk away.
Which is sad, because you see how the guy, I'm forgetting the name tonight, but the guy that transferred from Florida State went to Nebraska. Now he's their second or third depth quarterback. He would have been playing last year when Jordan went down.
Oh yeah,
he would have been playing here. And
that was Chubba.
Chubba, exactly. Chubba. He left in the middle of the year, and Jordan Travis got hurt. Mackenzie Milton was not playing well. He probably would have been playing last year, and he would have been competing for the backup role now.
Right.
So and now he's second or third string in Nebraska. So these guys leave programs. We don't know the full stories always, but it seems like a playing time, and he already invested so much time in Florida State. It just sometimes it doesn't make sense. But they think that their false hope is they're going to end up in a situation where there's no real competition,
and they're in a dream world.
Yeah.
That's a fantasy. Yeah. We're turning out quarterbacks from high schools and training programs and all of this stuff more than ever. Yeah. So the competition, and as a coach, and I agree with Coach Norvell, he wanted more competition in this program, and he's building that competition. Okay. Yeah. So these quarterbacks have to toughen it up a little bit. Florida State has always had a history of really good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Up to Jameis Winston, and then it's kind of dropped off.
Absolutely.
Okay. But there's always been guys that came in and could play quarterback. And for many years, you know, stars, ratings, and all this crap that goes on now. Mm-hmm. They came in, they schooled these guys, and these guys stayed with the program, whether they played or not. You know, and I can bring up a guy, Brad Johnson. Mm-hmm. Brad Johnson was backing up Charlie Ward, was it? Am I getting that mixed up? I could be. Mm-hmm. He was backing up, I think, Charlie Ward. Brad Johnson gets drafted in the NFL, wins a Super Bowl in the NFL, has a decent career there based on potential. And he was on a good team with good competition.
Yeah.
And he didn't play that much. Look up Brad Johnson's stats. You'll be shocked. It's not that much.
Oh, I'm aware.
So,
yeah,
you know,
no.
But these young guys, they've been used to being stars in Little League football and in high school, and they come in and they're ready to go. But you should have at least 4 guys there you're competing with.
I just think that, like I said, I've never been a college quarterback, but you would think you would like that year to get acclimated, or even 2 years. I think there's more success when you see guys that sit a couple of years and then get into the starting role. Like the guys, like it just blends you to more success than getting your head beaten in behind a bad line when you're a freshman and never recover from it.
Absolutely.
So the last article here, a couple more things to go over. I have an article here from On3 about a key position change at the Florida State. So this was news this week with Joshua Burrell. And this goes hand in hand with the loss of CJ Campbell. So if you haven't heard, the walk-on practice team star CJ Campbell is lost for the season with a leg injury. So that's sad to hear. And we're thoughts and prayers out to you, CJ, because from all indications you were going to make an impact on the field this year and probably earn that scholarship.
Yeah, it's a bad break.
But you'll be back. So we're praying for you. But that led to Josh Burrell, who is trying to compete for the wide receiver spot. Sophomore this year, true sophomore this year, being now moving towards that running back room. So what are your thoughts? What have you heard on this transition?
Well, this is a show again, that we try to lay it out here from a fan perspective. We're not doing this job. This isn't our full-time job. Okay. Yeah. So, but we follow this, I've been following this since the 1960s. So no one can challenge that criteria. Josh Burrell, apparently, I think it was too crowded in the wide receiver room. I think
especially with the transfers.
Obviously, Burrell's probably played running back in high school. I don't know that. I'm assuming that's what he was. And with so many receivers, I then took a look at the roster, and with CJ out, there was room. We needed to move a guy over there.
Yeah.
And so Burrell's going to be playing both running back and some wide receiver. He's going to be a specialty type guys. I don't expect he's going to get a whole bunch of reps in the running back area unless someone else goes down. And what is the chances of another running back going down? Pretty good.
Really high. Yeah.
Pretty
or
good.
Missing time, or just missing time.
Or missing time.
Yeah.
So you've got to have guys that have multiple skills. And I think he'll work out fine. They say he looks pretty good there.
Yeah.
So,
and I think
he's not going to be starting there, obviously.
So. No, but I think this, and this article points it out too, is that it fits into one of these gadget things that Norvell does with the system, like he did at Memphis. Antonio Gibson, who now is the starting running back for the Commanders, he was a receiver turned running back because he had the ability to run hard but also catch the ball seamlessly. Right. And so that's something that Josh, having trained as a receiver, seemingly capable as a receiver, now brings that mindset of being able to catch the ball. He just has to make that transition to be able to run with it too.
Well, what's very interesting, and I'm sure they probably talked to him a little bit too, is it as a running back who can catch passes coming out of the backfield, the NFL takes notice of that.
Yes, absolutely.
They want guys who can catch the ball. If you're a running back and you can't catch the ball coming out, they're going to put you on a different tier in terms of recruitment to the next level.
Absolutely. It's a good money move, honestly. If he can prove out that role to a sustainable level, absolutely. It's a good money move for him. Absolutely. And he's a big guy. Like, I think he'll be one of the biggest receiver or running backs now. And I think they'll split him out. I think, like you said, use him, but I think he's like 220 pounds. So he'll be one of the bigger guys in the running back room too. So he should be able to take a hit. But once again, you worry about fumbling and stuff like that. But
and I thought C.J. Campbell, I thought he was going to be the banger inside the red zone. You know, when it's 3rd and 3 from the goal line. Because who do we have as a banger now? Who are we going to use?
I mean,
Trey Benson.
Probably Trey's the biggest guy. I mean, Ward runs hard, but he's a smaller guy. I don't think they have a big.
No, we don't have that. We don't have that banger. You know, we don't have that. And it's good to see Jay Patrick. You know, with Cincinnati, he's back trying to make that team. He had 30 yards in the preseason. He was a big banger. You know.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We don't have Pooh Bear Williams. You know, the guy weighed like 240 pounds that you can run up there and get to 3 yards and get into the end zone. We really don't have that guy. So we almost can't rush that middle sometimes. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Trey's probably 6'1", 200 pounds, if not bigger, 210. So he should be able to give that role to you. But he's probably, him and Josh are probably going to be the biggest guys in that room now.
Okay.
So hopefully that gives you, because we know Lawrence is a small guy.
Yeah, he's
a small guy.
He can get to the corner. He's not going to run it up inside a lot.
Yeah, Trayshawn's small, but he runs hard. So yeah, hopefully those two guys can fill that role. I think those are the trending news I wanted to cover today. The injuries there. But
I'm excited to get to the game predictions now, man.
Yeah. Let's we can go right into that. So
okay.
Let's dive right into that. So we're going to be covering. We've given our predictions for the first half of the year already, the first 8 games. I'm going to pull up what we gave, the predictions that you gave already, so that you have a 5-3 record going into the last half or last quarter of the season.
Correct.
With the only 3 losses being LSU, NC State, and Clemson. And then mine, we had the same record projection. But I had Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson being losses in a row. So the middle portion of that schedule. So what we're going to be covering right now is Miami, Syracuse, Louisiana, and Florida, all in the month of November. And let's dig into it. Let's go over Miami first. Why don't you break it down for us first?
Okay, I'm gonna start with obviously Miami. You have to win one of 2 games. You got to beat Miami. You got to beat Florida. Mm-hmm. So, if you can win the state title and beat them both, which we used to do, I've got a T-shirt hanging back there with state title 3 years in a row where we beat them, 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You have to win one of the 2. Okay.
Yeah.
If I don't care what your record is, you got to win that for recruiting, nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're Miami. The problem with this Miami team is they have talent.
Yeah.
They're going through a transition with a new coach. The new coach is good. I think Cristobal, we hear a lot of, well, he's not that good, whatever. He was, I think Mario Cristobal is good. He's gonna recruit well. He's gonna get some good players coming out of South Florida, some really good players out of there. I think he's gonna, he's trying hard to put the swagger back into the system there. I respect him as a coach. The big name that we need to talk about is the quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke.
Yes.
Tyler Van Dyke is a legitimate quarterback. I saw him. I felt that way. I thought he was going to beat us last year, right?
Yeah.
It came down to the final drive, and he's a good quarterback. This guy is a big quarterback. He's very capable, and he's going to be well looked at by the NFL. I don't know about this year.
Well, he's already got Heisman odds. Like,
he's getting
kind of overhyped. I think.
I don't. Well, a lot of people are overhyped. There's some guys on Florida State are overhyped. Okay, I think he's a legitimate quarterback and probably one of the better ones in the ACC and one of the better ones in the country from what I saw of him last year in a variety of games, not just the Florida State game. He's a dangerous guy. I think his offensive line is a little average to iffy.
Yes.
And if you can put pressure on him, he's not really a runner. He's not really a scrambler like Jordan Travis. But if he stands back there, he can deliver the football. So he's a problem.
Yeah.
The other problem, as I said, the game's at home in Miami. It's on the way. I'm sorry. It's on the road. It's in Miami. That's a problem. That's going to be a problem. That game will be sold out down there. And those Miami fans, I'm going to be honest with you, hate them. I hope a couple of them are listening. They are terrible. They got all the stuff on like they're at Mardi Gras, chains and green and this, and they are mouthy. I had the most fun going to Miami games in Tallahassee, and when we're beating them, they're all leaving in the third, fourth quarter. We're all yelling, goodbye, ugliness. Kevin Steele, their defensive coach, he's been around. He was at Florida State for a while. There you go. They're terrible fans, just outrageous. I don't know who's better to beat them. I think it's better to beat them than Florida, but they're both, you both hate them both.
Yeah.
Kevin Steele, I'm not sure he's any big defensive guru. I think he's vulnerable. I think he's just floating around, grabbing jobs from people he knows. Mm-hmm. I think he's an average defensive coach. They're going to come in. They're going to be 4-1 in their start. They're going to be 4-1 in their start.
Yeah.
If not, they're going to get a lot of groans from South Florida. They're going to beat Bethune-Cookman. They're going to beat Southern Mississippi. They're going to beat Middle Tennessee, and they're going to beat North Carolina. Mm-hmm. They're going to lose to Texas A&M. That'll be the best game to really assess their talent is when they play Texas A&M early in the season on the road. In College Station. That'll be a good game to see how their quarterback performs, Then they also play Virginia Tech. They play Duke. They play UVA. They play Georgia Tech. And then they have to play Clemson. Their three toughest games are probably are Florida State, Texas A&M, and Clemson. They could win out on the other games. They could be. I
don't think we need to go through their entire schedule, but
But what I'm trying to say is, I think it's going to be a real interesting year because I don't think they have a real rough schedule, except for those three games.
No,
they could win the other games.
Yeah, they have a cupcake. Yeah.
So when they play us down there, they could have a pretty good record.
But who cares? I don't care about the record. I care about who they have on the field because they can play the garbage teams, but can they play us? That's what I care about.
Well, I think their talent will be okay. Okay, that's where I am. But their quarterback.
What's your prediction though? What is your prediction? At the end of the day, on the road, does Florida State beat? What is your
Let me get my magical sheet out here so I don't get this wrong. Unfortunately, the Noles lose by 3. Okay. For why I said it. I hate to say that. I don't like to say that, but I can't say we win every game.
Why can't you?
I could say that years ago.
Why can't you?
I never thought we'd lose a game years ago, but I think we lose by 3. And at 3 points is probably because we're on the road.
All right. I mean, you said a lot of things there that I agree with. Last year, Tyler did have a great throwing day as a freshman. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, a couple of picks. So he did kind of. Their offensive line is not very good. And we got to him. I mean, Jermaine dominated that game. He had 3 sacks. You're missing that. You're missing that. So that you're going
Well,
to have
no, we're missing Jermaine. I'm not
That's what I'm
missing
saying.
that.
That's what I'm saying. You're missing
Okay.
Jermaine. You have to
Yeah,
fill that gap in production.
I thought you were saying I was missing that.
No. We have to fill that gap in production.
No,
in
that's
getting to
where
the
Mr.
quarterback.
Verse and Briggs and
but those are not known commodities yet.
No, they're not.
You're hoping, but you don't know. And this game, Florida State got out early and then kind of crumbled late. So this, if Florida State is going to be able to close out this deal, they're going to have to be consistent all fourth quarters.
Adam Fuller has to generate pressure on that quarterback
because they had no running game last year, which was great, but they were able to basically pass all over you.
But they also always have a good tight end who really just exploits the middle of the field. I don't know how they do it every year, but they do.
Well, you just don't cover it. But also at the same time, we have to be able to establish the run like we did last year. We had a pretty consistent run game last year with Jay Sean, and Jordan didn't have a good average on running, but he was able to get yards every single time. So I think if we can establish the run and keep Tyler under 250 yards in the game passing, it can be a win. I think on the road it's going to be tough. But if we come in healthy to this game, I think we have a very, very good chance of winning it. But I do think, honestly, we are the better team if fully healthy. Now, that's a big if, and I can't predict off healthiness, stuff like that. This will be the litmus test on how well our defense is going. Well, it's late in the year, so by now we'll know how good our defense is. But if our defensive backs have looked bad leading up to this game, we'll get torched by Tyler. That's no doubt. So I'm going to say,
Well, our guys are going to have had a lot of games under their belt
and face a lot better quarterbacks, or a lot similar quarterbacks to him talent wise before that.
Yes. They will be tested.
And so I think honestly we'll know how well we'll play before that, because if we don't stand up against NC State, Wake Forest, Louisville,
and they have good quarterbacks.
Yeah, if we can't contain those guys well, we're not going to be able to contain the Miami passing game, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the loss as well. I say it won't be a blowout by them. It'll be a close game, but I do think I'm still not sure about. I always question our linebackers and defensive backs. So until I can see it proven, I think that they'll win the quarterback battle there.
Hey, do we get an opportunity during the season if Jordan goes down? Do we get to change our predictions? I mean, predictions are based on what you have before you start.
Okay, the projection will be 3 games won. Then I mean, it won't really matter. We won't even be podcasting.
Hey, let me interrupt before we move on to the next game. The ladies soccer match is over. 0-0 tie. 0-0 tie. Florida State, thanks to some reporting out from the field now. Kurt Weiler put out a report. 18 shots for Florida State, no goals. And they played number 12, South Carolina. But apparently South Carolina had a very good goalie. And we started 0-0. Well, that's better than a loss. So, they're getting, learning under a new coach, and the ladies will be fine. No problem.
Yep.
Okay.
No issues there. All right. So we're both saying loss, close game, but a loss. So that puts both records at 5-4 going into Syracuse. So why don't you kick us off? Syracuse in November, and I believe this is this is at home. No, this is on the road, right? No, on the road in Syracuse.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Syracuse is Syracuse. They have trouble recruiting. They don't do as a good job in recruiting as Wake Forest does. Wake Forest should have a lot of problems recruiting, but they bring in guys and they develop them. Syracuse brings in guys and they really are inconsistent in the development. They have a decent quarterback. I think they have a decent quarterback. He's not at the level of the elite quarterbacks in the ACC. In the ACC, some of the guys we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I see Florida State winning this one +10, even on the road. They need to win this game to get to bowl eligibility. Okay, this game is one of the must games they're going to need if they stumble on another game that they should win. I have Florida State +10.
Yeah.
Which takes them to 6-4, which would be bowl eligibility.
Yeah. I mean, this game last year was, we were 4 points away from being 0-5 in this game last year. And this was at home. These are the games that Florida State, if they've really grown, this is a game they should be winning by 10. There's no reason why this should be a 3-point game, even on the road. They have to dominate games like this, or dominate in a way that it's not close in the fourth, or not close within 5 minutes. They should feel in control for most of the game. Not like last year. Jordan did not have a good game last year. He only threw for 131 yards. He did run all over them, which is the good part. But the defenses didn't show up on either side. Their quarterback, Grant Schrader, he ran for 130 yards, threw for 150. So there was just no defense to play. And I think Florida State at that time was in a funk. Obviously losing to Jacksonville State the week before, and then coming into this game, it was just bad all around. I'm believing that the team has developed. I believe that they have better talent coming in transfer-wise, freshman-wise, that are going to be able to make impacts. I will go ahead and say Florida State wins this game by 7. I do think it'll be sort of close. Florida State, for some reason, just plays Syracuse and teams like this close. They haven't been able to start dominating these games like they should. But I do think they'll win this game by 7, and they'll be able to close it out. So I'm putting a win on the board as well.
Yeah, we don't really have a team that's going to dominate anybody.
I'm putting dominate. I'm not saying they have to win by 40. I'm saying you have to go up by 10 and keep the lead. Don't be going 4 and out and for the fourth quarter.
Well, that's going to be
sustained drives.
Yeah.
Sustained drives.
The key to the season will be sustained drives on offense and getting the other offense off the field 3 and out.
Yeah, you're not going to beat teams like 25 to 35 points, but it's just controlling the pace of play, limiting the amount of opportunities they have, and controlling the tempo. That's I think what's going to be about.
But we have to beat the Syracuse's.
Yeah.
If we don't, we're not making progress.
You're getting a new head coach.
There's certain wins that we've talked about on this schedule that have to take place, or we're not showing progression. I don't mind the record as much as progression, and we shouldn't be getting blown out by anybody.
No.
You can't make excuses for getting blown out anymore. You're not making progression. No. And it's going to be costly to people if those things happen.
Exactly. So we're looking at 6-4 on both sides right now.
And we don't coordinate on this stuff. I mean, that's just the way it kind of figures out.
No, so you're 6-4 heading to the final 2 games of the season.
Right.
That the next game being Louisiana at home.
Yes.
Louisiana being a decent team. Obviously, Louisiana was coached by now the current coach at Florida, which is interesting.
Billy Napier.
Exactly. So, for people who don't know, Louisiana last year was, I think, they were 13-1. So, and obviously they've lost some talent. A bunch of guys, I think, transferred to Florida itself. So Napier took some of the talent he thought were good enough to come to Florida with him, like coaches normally do. But obviously, this is a team that plays in the Sun Belt. Shouldn't have the depths of talent that Florida State does. But I do think this is a bit of a trap game. You're coming back from Syracuse, coming into this game. It's right before the Florida game. I think this is a prime trap game. This is a team that will have talent on it, and it has produced good teams for the last couple of years, even though they're playing the South Alabama, Georgia
they
Southern.
Play nobody.
Like but
they play nobody.
Outside of App State and Coastal Carolina, they essentially play nobody. So I'll let you start first. What are your thoughts?
I think you summed it up pretty good there. Like you said on when we were playing Duquesne, you go, I don't even want to talk about it. I agree on this one. This is not one we're going to spend a lot of time on. This is a must win. This cannot be a Jacksonville State game. All right. This cannot be that type of game. And they really don't play anybody. This is on their schedule. This is the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They come into Tallahassee. They're going to get a pretty good sized check for their program, and they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. They have everything to gain. They just All they need, you can't let a team like this hang in there like Jacksonville State because anything can happen. Anything can happen. Florida State must win this game. And let's see, I have on my magic sheet here 21 points. 21-point win for Florida State at home, must win. And that moves Florida State to 7-4 and now a more solid position for a bowl game.
Yeah. I'm very unsure about this game. To your point, this is their game of the year. This is the only Power 5 team that they've have on the schedule the entire season. And so this will be the one they circle and say, we can make a statement, by winning this game. They were the number 16 team in the country last year. They could potentially be undefeated going into this game. They could be 10, 11-0.
They could beat everybody coming in.
Because they don't play Coastal Carolina on their schedule. They don't in conference this year. So they could be, they'll play no ranked teams. They'll play no outside of Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall.
That who may be a decent, but they play 0 Power 5 teams leading up to Florida State. So they could be undefeated. So this could turn out to be like an ESPN type of game on upset watch.
You know what? If we lose this game, Mike Norvell is gone.
And I think it would lead up to that. So if this team is going 6-4 into this game, this could be a game that if he loses it, they go 6-5. Even they're eligible for a bowl game. I still think
they'd have to beat Florida and Miami to survive a loss in this game.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Florida State wins. But I think this is a super trap game, and this is the game that I'm going to circle that. If I have them going 6-4 up to this game and they lose it, this will be the game that it makes it or breaks his career at Florida State, because I could see them losing this game and it just the wheels falling off, and it's like, hey, you survived Jacksonville State, can't let you survive the Louisiana.
Yeah, you can't lose to Duquesne, you can't lose to Syracuse, you can't lose to Louisiana.
Yeah.
Those are 3 wins there.
Yeah.
You have those. You got to put those away. Then you only need 3 more games to be bowl eligible.
Yeah.
And beat either Florida or Miami. And you know what? You'll survive to fight another year.
I'm really like, I want to say we're gonna I don't want to say we're gonna lose Louisiana. I'm gonna put it as a win, but that game really does scare me. It does scare me.
Yeah, it doesn't scare me.
Then you're thinking that we're a lot better than Jacksonville State.
Win. It is a must win.
Every game is a must.
It's a must win.
All right. Okay. So we're going to Florida. So
you know what? If we don't beat a team like that, all this stuff that these sideline reporters go out to every day and soak up, as I say, coaching 101 discourse, it's just, you hear it every year.
No,
it doesn't mean anything.
Well, that's the thing. If they lose that game, then all the coach speech, it will break down.
And, they're not going to lose this. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to lose this game.
Then we go into
they're not going to lose this.
Then we go into the final game of the season, which I believe this is now on a Friday. The Florida game, they
I didn't even see that. It's on it's the day. They used to be on Fridays after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, now they put it back there for a special.
Well, they're going to go wherever TV tells them to go.
Friday game. So yeah, it'll be cool.
Probably be an early kickoff,
Yeah, so Friday, Thanksgiving.
Noontime kickoffs suck. Everybody knows that as a fan. You don't get the tailgate. Nobody wants to get up. You ever try to go to a restaurant in Tallahassee?
It's on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. It's the Friday after Thanksgiving. But you ever try to go out to
No, this isn't the Friday after Thanksgiving. This is
I thought you said it was.
No, it's on Thanksgiving.
It's on Thanksgiving Day?
I believe so.
No way. It's either on Friday or Saturday.
Oh, sorry. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
It's Black Friday. It's on Black Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah. Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But yeah, so 7:30. It's gonna be night evening game.
That'll be Friday. Prime time. Yeah.
So it'll be good. So this is in Tallahassee.
Oh yeah.
I'll let you start. This game was close, somewhat close last year. Florida State had a chance to potentially win, but what are your thoughts?
Well, you're playing. First of all, you're playing at home. That's a big advantage. Okay, that's a big advantage. The stadium will be sold out. It'll be ruckus. There'll be, it'll be good. Now, a lot of kids go home for Thanksgiving, but a lot of them come back. They'll come back for that game. That's a big weekend. Okay. And that's how it used to be. It used to be on that Friday, it was always good. You got to coach, and you got to program and transition. Now we should be a little bit ahead of that curve by now. Our kids kind of know what's going on by now. They're not having to think about where I should be. They're reacting to the plays and using the potential of their ability at this point. So Billy Napier comes over from Louisiana. There's been rumors about unrest with the fan base there in Gainesville. I don't know if that's just chatter.
It's
just chatter.
Yes.
There's been supposedly recruiting issues. I think that's all chatter.
If he wins, they don't care.
What is that? As the FBI says, there's chatter out there. What does that mean? You know what? He looks like a coach, though. Billy Napier looks and talks like a coach.
I don't know that.
I kind of like that piece of it, and he's labored. This is his shot. He's going to get a couple 3 years there at Florida, maybe just 2 if he's not winning.
No,
they expect big things there.
Yeah, they do.
The rest of his staff's kind of mediocre. No big names stand out on that staff that that I saw when I looked down the roster. They got a glitzy new locker room. That all the colleges, we all got to have the glitzy like ours. They bring the kids in for that stuff. They got some new quarterbacks, but the guy that's going to be their starter, I'd be surprised if he isn't. And if he isn't, he'll probably go in the portal, Anthony Richardson. But he doesn't have a lot of, and hey out there, Mr. Mayhem, nice to see you. Peyton, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Anthony Richardson's stats weren't that big last year. He makes mistakes under pressure. That's his problem. He's a big guy. He's like 6'4", 230. He's not a runner. He's more of a drop back guy, but I don't think he sees the field well, especially here's another time you got to get pressure on this guy. And I think you can force him into mistakes. They play a brutal SEC schedule, and they open with Utah at home. What an opener for a new coach. Yes. Utah is a good road team. They're a solid team, and that is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, that'll be.
And that's going to be on a TV game. We should take a look at that. They play UGA on the road. They play Texas A&M on the road. They play FSU on the road. They got a brutal schedule. So with all that, I think if Florida finishes 500, they've had a good season. They're unranked coming into this season, just like Florida State is. Somebody tweeted that out. I can't remember. A shout out to whoever it was, said this is the first year since way in many, many years. Florida State has never been ranked in the top 25. My final is this. Florida State wins on a last-second field goal, 3-point win for Florida State at home. We're bowl bound, 8-4, great season. 8-4, great season. We'll get a decent bowl game. We don't win the ACC, though. We don't go to the ACC championship.
All right. Well, yeah. So, yeah, I think you said some good things there. Last year, Florida State made some mistakes. Last year's game was very winnable. Offense just really couldn't get going. They kind of made it. It was down 24-7 going into the fourth quarter. Got a couple touchdowns there to make it close at the end, but obviously it wasn't enough. They do lose Emory to the portal. Anthony Richardson, there's some hype around him. I don't think he's that. I think he was looking to transfer too at some point. He came back and then Emory left, and so I don't think he's that. I think he's an average quarterback. I don't think he's going to.
They don't have anybody behind him either. Right. Well, they don't have any proven experience.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think he's like this quarterback that's going to just light it up. But at the same time, you have to be able to stop the running game. And Florida State really did struggle with that. And, Emory was the guy that kind of lit up Florida State last year, and they don't have him. So until it's proven that, Anthony Richardson can actually move the ball without a consistent running game, I think it's up to interpretation of how this game will go, especially at home for Florida State. So if Florida State can show that they can stop the run and the offense is humming, I think Florida State very much can win this game, no matter what the rank of Florida is. Because Florida could be number 5 in the country. Florida State could, these rivalry games kind of you throw the rankings out the window. But with all that said, I do think Florida, for whatever reason, Florida State hasn't come all that way from talent-wise. They still, there is a talent gap there, and I think for whatever reason, the turnover game will not go in our favor. And once again, I still have some mistrust in our defensive backs until I see them and what they can do in locking down receivers, because we did have some issues with that in the Florida game last year. So I'm going to put this as a close loss on this game. So that's why I'm going to put up a loss of Florida at home. But I do think it'll be close, and I do think it'll be a barometer for how well our progress has been.
You have. Well, the barometer of the progress you have is losing to Miami and Florida.
Yeah, so let me put up.
That is not a good barometer.
Well, let me put up.
And that's not going to sit well with the fan base.
Well, I mean,
I always said if you won 2 games the whole year, it better be Miami and Florida.
Well, let's look over it real quick. So I'm going to pull up.
You know how much crap our fans get when they go into work? Thank God most of them don't. They work from home, but from their buddies, in Florida, throughout the country, from Florida fans and Miami fans. Oh my God, it's relentless. It drives one to drink.
Not
our sponsor, but give us a buzz. We'll work something out.
So this is your breakdown. 8-4 losses at LSU or versus LSU and Louisiana, NC State, Clemson, and Miami. So you have us beating, like you said, Florida, our rival, losing the Miami, Clemson, and LSU. So you essentially just have us beating 2 good teams on the season. Wake Forest, if they are, they may.
Miami's ranked right now.
I don't know if they'll be. Well, they could, with their
preseason ranking in the top 25.
So you're right; they could be ranked then, with their schedule. So so you have us, kind of splitting rivals there. If you don't count Clemson.
Well, this would be a good season. 8-4.
Yeah, I think that's what the upper projection is. That's kind of the highest projection.
That is kind of the high prediction.
Yeah, and then you have myself with mine 7-5, with losses for Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, Miami, and Florida. So basically winning the games you have to win at a minimum, and then pulling out like LSU, the marquee matchup of LSU, but then just winning the gimme games essentially.
I don't know if the LSU we could call marquee. You got. They're in trend. Well, it is.
It doesn't matter. It's a brand. It's a brand.
It's a brand. It's a brand. But it's like a team in transition down there who has a really good brand name, like we have a brand name. So it's going to be a battle of ESPN, 2 brand names in transition.
Exactly. It's an ESPN highlight game. So, but essentially mine is my schedule is you're beating the worst teams. You're basically beating the worst teams on your schedule. Like that, you have to win those to get to my record, which I think is more realistic. Like, I could even put Louisville, that Louisville has a loss, or Louisiana has a loss, and we still get 6. So this is, I think, your minimum of what you have to do to show any signs of progress. Because you get to a bowl, if you get to a bowl, you win, you get to 8-5 with mine. With yours, you get to 9-5 if you win on your record, or 9-4 if you go to a bowl and win. So I think mine is more realistic. I think you potentially could lose to all 3 of your rivals, and people would be unhappy, but it would show progress. In terms
how do you show progress if you lose to all 3 of your rivals?
3-5 to 5 and whatever the record was. 3 wins, 5 wins, 7 wins with a bowl, potentially 8 wins. That's incremental progress. I personally, beating your rivals is great because you can shut down smack talk. But we're talking about incremental. I'm talking about improvement based on metrics, and metrics would say if your wins are piling up and you can get from 3 to 8 wins, in 2 seasons or 3 seasons, then you're showing progress on the field.
Okay,
right?
That's fair. That's fair. I think you're showing your progress is we're beating people who we're supposed to beat. And we're keeping. But I think the key is we're beating those people. Yeah. But we're keeping it close on our
Yes.
rivals or the better teams.
Yeah, you're
okay?
not getting blown out. If
We're
you're getting
not-
blown out,
if you're getting blown out,
then
then
it's a
there's
different
still
story.
problems.
yeah. If
There's
you're
still problems.
by 20 to Miami and 20 to Florida and 20 to Clemson, then the 7-5 goes out the window, and there's a different conversation.
And that's right. And then there's going to have to be better questions from our sideline media.
Yeah, because
can't
at
just-
that, if you're just winning the minimum games and then getting blown out in the marquee games, then we say, okay, well, coach, you've gotten us this far. Someone else can take the foundation from here and get us to the next level. That's where I could see that conversation going. But if they're all close, if you're losing,
And I hope we don't have to have that
No,
conversation.
I
to be
agree.
honest with you,
I
I think this coaching staff is working really, really hard.
Agreed.
They're really, really working hard. There's going to be adversity. This is a tough climb. Many of these games are going to be close. They're going to be close.
I think all of them are going to be
And it's
close.
going to be, can you stop? You've taken the lead. It's 3 minutes to go. Can you get off the field and stop the offense?
Yeah.
Can you make a field goal?
Yeah.
It's really going to be close. I mean, you better strap in and you better have your heart attack pills ready to go.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some key plays. But every coach says that. That's part of the class. Well, there's 2 or 3 key plays in this game, but you got to make those key plays. Especially you should be able to get to 6 wins. There should be no excuse of getting to 6 wins.
No, you're gone if you don't. You have to be gone.
You have to get to a toilet bowl this year.
Yeah,
you
and
have
win.
to.
And
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We don't sugarcoat it. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, I've been following this team since the '60s. I've seen the best and I've seen the worst. Okay.
All right.
And one shout out to Billy Sexton. I saw a note that Billy is had some medical issues. I remember a long time ago when his dad, Jimmy Sexton, came over to Florida State, transferred over from Alabama as a quarterback, and we were in dire straits. This was in the 70s, and I said, "Oh God, this guy, guy coming from Alabama." He did okay, but But shout out to Billy Sexton, his family. He's a young guy. He's had some ups and downs. He played some good football at times at Florida State, but we don't care about that. This is about a human being. This is about a guy who gave his best here at Florida State. And shout out to them. Prayers and blessings to that family. And I hope everybody else does the same. Say a prayer for them tonight.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah.
But I think so we've covered it. We've given our projections for the season. Once again, I put them up and probably tweet them out as we get close to the season. But once again, here's my breakdown for the season 7-5 with some key losses, basically rival losses across the board. And then we have yours with just the 2 rival losses, Clemson and Miami, but finishing the season with 3 straight wins and the key win over Florida. So we're close. But we'll see how it plays out. And this is all assuming things are healthy. Lineups kind of stay the same as they are. We've already lost 2 players for the season, so hopefully we don't see anyone else get injured.
Yeah, and that's how quick it can happen.
But it can happen for the
It
other
happens
team as
in
well.
fall practice. Yeah, it does. But that's how quickly you can lose 2 guys.
And that's why depth is.
And you know what my nightmare is? I'm not even going to talk about my nightmare.
Let's not talk.
I'm not even going to talk about it.
You
know what it is. Everybody out there knows what it is. Okay.
I know.
Now we got. You got anything else? I got one thing else. I got one more thing.
That's it for me.
All right. Little bit of a downside issue here. I have not heard from Coach Norvell.
Oh God.
Or Robert Cooper about my sprint challenge, charity sprint challenge for $500. I showed the cash a couple weeks ago, right? I mean, that's on the record. Well, here. Okay, you don't want to. You're afraid to sprint. That's all right. That's okay. Here's what we're going to do. Coach. Coach, I'm challenging you. If you beat Miami and Florida, I'm going to give $500 to a Greater Tallahassee charity. And if you want, Coach, you can join me in that and match that. You beat Florida and Miami, I'm writing a check
for $500.
$500. $500, and I'll show it right here, and I'll mail it off.
Okay.
And we'll figure out what charity that is. Or Coach can weigh in if he wants to match up.
If he beats Florida, Miami, and Clemson, if he adds Clemson,
no, I didn't
5,000.
I'm giving a break.
5,000.
No, I didn't say 5,000. I said 500. $500. He beats Florida and Miami, and then Coach can join in. And I'm not saying he's going to, but he could join in and match it. That's up to him. But that'll be from, Seminoles sideline, 365, from Bruce, and I'll throw your name in there, KB.
I appreciate that.
That's a challenge. You got to issue challenges to your team.
All right. I appreciate
All right.
One last thing.
And this will be on tape.
It's on.
There's not going to be any excuses.
It's on tape.
I got the cash. You saw it.
All right. We saw it. All right. Last thing I'll wrap up before we go. And I know this was posted a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to get your reaction on it because I don't think I have yet. What was your reaction to the new locker rooms for Miami?
My reaction is the same. Florida has done this. Miami. Which college, which university has a lazy river? Do we have one of those yet? Do we have a lazy river?
No, but people are making fun of these Miami locker rooms because they said they look like because they're so small. Look, you can't the legs. You can't even fit grown men in there. You can't even walk past each other.
Yeah, I didn't really look at it like that, but it could get a little bumpy when you start putting your pads on, man.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's not very wide.
I don't think the Rock
didn't even look at that.
That's what people were saying. They were saying that they built this in a shipping container or something.
It is kind of funny. But yeah, it looks a little cramped. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I don't know how they must have the charter jets they put these guys on. They don't sit in the same seat I sit in.
No.
I'm 5'10", 165 pounds. I can't even hardly sit there. And I dread the open seat and see who's coming down the aisle.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I sat down next to a guy one time. I was like the last guy coming in. It was my seat. You know how everybody looks down the aisle? And I'm coming down, and I looked right at him, and I said, "It's your lucky day." And he goes, "Oh man, don't I know it?" Everybody has that same mentality. That's true. That's true.
All right. So I think that'll do it for the show. We're less than by next week we'll be talking about Duquesne to play on Saturday, so we'll be getting excited. So look forward to next week and getting ready for game day. They've already started a little bit of preparation already, so stay tuned. This show will be live on podcast by tomorrow, and once again, like and subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Even if you don't, go ahead and like it.
Hell, do it anyway.
We'll appreciate it. And then follow us on Twitter, Seminoles SL365 on Twitter. We'll see you over there. Take care, everyone.
Yeah.